Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. In this episode, we're going to talk about Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is published by 2K Games, developed by Gearbox Software, and it's basically a spin-off of the Borderlands franchise. It came out on Windows and PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Series X, and came out on March 25th of 2022. It is an action role-playing first-person shooter with single-player and multiplayer options. So we're going to go around and see what everybody thought of Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Let's go ahead and start with Shane. What did you think of Tiny Tina?
Why, thank you. It's not what I was expecting. There's lots of good. There's lots of bad. But the bad isn't as bad as it might sound. I'm going to stick to the positive for right now. Biggest thing is the game is hilarious. We laughed so freaking much, and it seemed to get funnier as we played. Side quests were hilarious. Main story was hilarious. That is like my favorite thing about this game. Just the characters and the writing and the jokes throughout are just freaking hilarious. There's a Jack and the Beanstalk area with a gentleman who did something that surprised the hell out of us at the end of the mission. And, we just all about died. It was hilarious. The game is fun. It has quirks and stuff like that can be aggravating, but overall the game is fun. I was expecting a little more RPG kind of an aspect to it. And it does have RPG elements, but I was expecting a little more on the RPG end of it. But overall, I think the game is a blast. But I'll get to the negative parts later. Pat, what about you, bud?
Yeah, it's funny. It's a fun game with your friends. But I was expecting something different too as well. I was not expecting medieval times with guns. That's pretty much what it is. I was not expecting them to port over the guns and everything. I thought it was just going to be like tabletop RPG style, pen and paper type stuff with, Borderlands Gearbox backing it. But, I also have to admit that I did not play the game that this was basically spinned off of, which was that I think Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep standalone DLC or whatever that they had for the main game from Borderlands 3, I think. I did not play that. So I came into this completely blind. I do love Borderlands. Borderlands are always funny, with their humor and claptrap and all this stuff. And the humor is still there. It's just I expected a little bit more in the terms of my guy uses sword and shield or swords and knives or magic and this and that. And instead it turned into that stuff is a backseat to guns, and more guns. So, but overall, it was a fun game with issues. So my initial thoughts. Nick, what about you, man? What are your initial thoughts on this game?
Yeah, if you like Borderlands, this is more Borderlands. That's pretty much all there is to it. The writing is funny, but this is really essentially Borderlands. It's just Borderlands with a different aesthetic, right? Medieval times instead of desert future or whatever that the other Borderlands are. I think the writing's really good. I think the set pieces are really nice looking. As far as the gameplay goes, it's just Borderlands, right? And you either love or hate Borderlands. And I'm agreeing with Shane and Pat here, where I was hoping for a little bit something different, really. And Pat's exactly right. Like, I chose a Graveborn, which does it's supposed to be more of a magic user that hurts to heal, basically. The more damage I do, the more health I get back and stuff like that. And so I was like, cool, I'm going to do spells and various things of that nature. And really, it just comes down to exactly what Pat was saying. it's all about the guns, right? So as I started putting stat points, because you do get stat points when you level up, into wisdom and intelligence, this is what my character needs. Eventually I stopped doing that and started putting into strength, which ups my critical damage output, and also dexterity, which ups my critical chance, right? Or it might be the other way around. But regardless, that, because I found that half the time, I'm not using spells as much as I am just shooting the gun. So it's like I'm just going to put more into basically making the gun hit harder than I am going to anything else. So, yeah, I mean, if you like Borderlands, this is going to be straight up your alley. If you want more Borderlands, here you go. You get more Borderlands. Other than that, it's really, I think personally, it's really not got much. It doesn't have really much more to offer you than more Borderlands. So,
yeah, the problem with the game is that it's held up by co-op and it's held up by the story, because there's like you guys said, it's Borderlands. It's guns and guns. I picked a melee character. What I do, I shot 90% of everything. That's it. I mean, Nick was magic. What did he do? He shot the shit out of everything. Pat was you just shot shit out of everything. So I mean, we were expecting, and just like Pat, I didn't play the standalone expansion, the Dungeon Keep, whatever it's called. But I don't know, the way it was kind of pushed out there, it seemed like it was supposed to be RPG to me, at least in that, in most aspects. But let's get down to the problems. The biggest problem, I didn't have a problem at first, the first few nights. Pat had all the problems. He couldn't see guns and things like that. And, and it sucked for him. And then like on the night 3, I couldn't see my guns. We were getting lagged out, or my biggest problem was I would be doing something and next thing you know, I'm across the street. Just weird crap like that started happening. Random disconnects. The gun thing was really hard because once you pick up these weapons, you can't see what they are. So you don't know what to swap out to. And then you need to sell stuff or drop stuff or whatever so you can pick up, better weapons, but you can't see what it is you're trying to drop. That's a pain in the butt. I'm surprised Pat didn't just, shoot his Xbox on that one. That was just stupid when that started happening to me. There's technical issues with the game. Nothing game breaking that a reset, couldn't fix, but it's BS that you have to even consider doing it. It's BS you have to quit your game or, restart. That was really rough at times. But overall, I enjoy the game. They got to get those bugs fixed, though. I'm tired of games coming out broken, and this thing has got a lot of broken issues. Like I said, nothing major, but enough to make it a severe annoyance. But Pat, why don't you tell them more of your issues?
I don't know. It is a very buggy game, and when I say buggy, I mean it. Like, there was one time we were playing this weekend, and I'm sitting there going, "Crap is just not dying. What's going on?" And come to find out, my gun's doing absolutely no damage. Nick and Shane were beating on this guy and got him pinned in the corner. And I walked up to him point blank in the face and started shooting my gun, and I'm like, his health bar's not going. He's not dying. What is going on here? Like, stupid crap like that kept happening. And I'm like, I am doing absolutely no damage and getting railroaded.
Didn't your magic work?
But yeah, I could damage with magic. So if I use my magic abilities, my left and right shoulder buttons, it could damage him. I'm like, cool. But I would say 60 to 70% all your damage comes from your gun. And then your class abilities gets the rest, right? I mean, that's just the way it seems to be. So I rebooted, completely closed out the game, came back in, everything was working fine. I think 80% of the entire time I've been playing the game, I can't see my inventory. Everything is just a blank color. I could tell if it's an epic, an elite, legendary, or common item. That's about it when it's in my inventory. But outside of that, you can't tell if it's a gun or if it's a ward or if it's, an amulet or a trinket or spellbook. It's just like I got to click on every one of them and look at it. It's a stupidly annoying bug. And that's constant. Like, I can reboot, come back in, work for like 5-10 minutes, and then it's back to being blank again. So, and then just like quality of life things. Like you can't, you using the clicking on the left stick to select something as junk is the dumbest thing ever, because that thumbstick is not meant to be clicked that much to have to sell something. So then you go in and you try to sell it. Guess what? You can't sell it. You got to go all the way into the machine, and you can't do the quick sell because then it's stupid. The game is buggy as hell for what it is, and that's my biggest complaint with it, is that it's funny. It's fun to play with your friends, but the bugs are making it unplayable. I mean, I had probably half a dozen disconnects this last weekend that we played. We're just randomly playing and we're loading and it disconnects me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What's going on here? And then when it does that, you have to completely shut down the game, because if you try to come back in, it just gives you stupid random errors or brings you in with a buggy setup. You can't swap guns, you can't do things. So for what it is and where it's at in its development cycle and release cycle, I should say, it's way too buggy to be released, in my opinion. What about you, Nick? Do you run into a whole lot of bugs or weird issues or anything?
Not really, and I hosted the game. So as the host, I really didn't run into any issues. But I know these guys did plenty of issues. And the other thing I would say as well is, this game is just like other Borderlands. It's all about finding different weapons. There's like 1,000 million combinations of weapons. The problem with this compared to other Borderlands, and I'm trying to remember, is the guns in this game suck. I mean, like, every gun you come across is crappier than the last one. Like, very rarely do I come across a gun I actually like using. Like, I have one now that I like using, but I know I'm going to have to trash it soon as I level up. And so I'm on the quest to find a gun that is suitable, because the other guns I have all suck. I don't like them. I don't like the way they fire. I don't like it's not really the abilities on them so much. It's just the way they perform as a gun. So that's the one thing I don't like about the game. And like I said, and the back seating of the classes and stuff. It really seems, it doesn't, for me, it feels like it doesn't matter what you pick whatever you want, because you really just need to put your skills into doing more damage with guns, it feels like. So
right, yeah, there's only 6 classes to begin with, so it's not like you got a huge whole thing to choose from. And like I said, I did the spell shot, which means my spells do recharge, and I get 2 spells. I get a left shoulder and a right shoulder spell that I can pick from, and they seem to recharge pretty quick. But the problem is that I would say that the majority of damage usually comes from my guns. But there's only 6 classes. So I guess I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit more. And then at a certain part, you get to spec into having 2 classes, but it looks like you have to actually swap between the 2 of them to have the other one take effect. It's not like you just, because you can't, the special abilities of the classes are shoulder buttons. So you can't have those active at the same time. And it's, so yeah, I mean, it's an interesting game. Don't get me wrong. If you got friends, it's definitely a play. But if you're going solo, I might seriously wait for patches to come out and for this thing to go maybe on sale, I would say. I mean, it is fun. It's got an interesting concept. Like when you're in what they call the overworld, you get to walk around as a little big-headed figurine and go through what looks like a giant, game board. If somebody took their time and build out terrain and stuff like that, that's kind of cool. But
yeah, I like the whole overworld game board thing. I mean, there was like a can of Coke or orange soda spilt, and it was, making a river, and, just silly stuff like that. And if you look in the back, you can see, random things. There's so much to like about this game, but there's also so many little issues that make it such an annoyance that, it really would be hard to play by yourself. It really would. As funny as this game is, it's a cooperative game, period. So if you have friends, I highly recommend it right now. Even right now, hopefully they'll patch it and fix the crap. But if you're going to play it by yourself, wait for patches. Probably wait for a discount too. I mean, it's just no matter how funny and good the writing is in this game, it doesn't make up for some of the technical issues. Now, like Nick said, he didn't have any. So if you're going to play with your friends, fight to be the host. So do that.
Yeah. Like I said, I was expecting a little bit different of a game too, to be honest with you. I love Borderlands. I like playing the games and stuff, but I was just thinking, okay, cool. We're going to get a Borderlands with swords and magic spells and stuff. Okay, cool. And we got that, but it was like just a little bit of that. You still need to pull out your guns and shoot the crap out of just about everything. But it's fun. It's fun with your friends. I don't know if I would enjoy it as much or gotten as far if I was playing solo as much. So, and what we make it to, like, to make it to 30 or something, Nick, I think is where you got to when 29, 30. So, I mean, we played it quite a bit. It's just lots of bugs and lots of issues for a game that's, released.
Yeah, what was funny is some of the things you're supposed to unlock when you hit said level, it didn't unlock for hours, then finally it would pop up, you unlocked a new weapon slot. That's weird. And then you look and you're supposed to open that up, right when you hit that level and you're already 3 levels past. So just stupid things that keep this game from being truly fun. Because if they patched all the problems that we ran into, oh yeah, this would be a great game. One you could run back and forth to all the time for a long while.
Yeah. For me, it's if you're a huge Borderlands fan, this is a definite pickup, right? I mean, because it's just more of that. If you're not a huge fan of it, I would probably wait for it to go on sale, then pick it up and play with your friends. It just depends on how much you really like Borderlands. Because, if you're thinking it's something else, kind of like we weren't necessarily thinking it was something else. We were just hoping it was something else, right? I kind of had an idea that it was probably going to be just more Borderlands, but I was kind of hoping for more of a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing with the Borderlands aesthetic and everything like that. But it's not, but I mean, it's got a lot of star power behind it. There's a lot of celebrities doing the voice acting for the characters, so that's cool. I mean, if you know the celebrities, you'll be able to point them out more than likely and be like, hey, that's that one person. So I mean, that's cool and all to hear celebrity voices on there, but and they do a good job with their characters. Like we said, overall the characters and the story and the aesthetic of the beanstalk that Shane was talking about and the castle and everything like that, it's all really nice looking. And it's really funny moments, good writing, but all Borderlands have good writing, right? Always their stories are always pretty funny and pretty well written. But yeah, I mean, ultimately you're just getting more of the same, really. So do you guys have anything else you want to add to our Tiny Tina?
Nope, same gun, different world.
Tiny Tina's a good DM. We need to get Tiny Tina to DM some games for us.
She is a good DM.
Hilarious.
She's got that DM. She's the greatest dungeon master out there, I think.
Right. We'll invite Wanda Sykes and Andy Samberg over to game with us.
And Will Arnett. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Please let us know down in the comments below. Have you played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and what do you think about it? Or did you play the DLC that came out before? Because I'm pretty sure it's probably more of the same of what this is, but just in a smaller scale since it was a DLC. Are you a big fan of Borderlands and are looking forward to this, or have you picked it up yet? And let us know down in the comments below what you think about this game. Other than that, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. There's tons of videos out there. But other than that, we'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.